Myself, Bhavana, and I've been in this space for past 14 years. I started as a software test engineer way back in 2004. I got into testing not by choice, but after getting into it, until I joined Moolya, testing was just my job. It was not a passion, it was not something that I can say that I love to do. So Moolya actually gave me that opportunity to unlearn what I learned as a software tester in my previous companies, and then see the testing space in a different dimension itself. So that is what I call Moolya has given me that advantage. And what I like in testing, I like everything in testing. So I was just thinking initially that testing means just finding bugs and giving it to developer and getting it fixed. But I now know like testing is not just finding bugs. And I keep stressing that the same thing to my juniors and my peers and everyone whom I think that they should know. When they say that testing is very easy job, I say it is not very easy. When you get into the testing, when you go to the depth of it, it is not so easy. So that is what I tell to my peers. Yeah, so the basic definition what everybody thinks is testing means breaking the application. Testing means finding bugs. So it's not just that. It is part of it, but it is not just that. Testing is your learning the application. You are trying to understand the application from different dimension and trying to see what is right for the application and what is not. And it's not just your product owner or the developer. We also have to think in various angles, like as a user, how the user will use it. So all these different dimensions and thinking ability we need to develop. Okay, so I was just before this conversation, I was having a meeting with one of my junior, and he was telling we were not supposed to go out of the requirement document. But that is entirely wrong. We don't encourage that. We want people to go out of box and do that thinking, and that is why customers are coming to us seeing that value in Moolya and Moolyan testers. The leadership itself is a very tricky word or a topic. Like very few people have understood rightly about leadership, and they will execute in their day-to-day life. So I feel being a leader is working along with your team and not on top of them. So as a leader, I want to understand what my team is going through and what is required for their, not just the project, as well as their other, I would want to stress upon their skills, upgrading their skills, which might be required or which might be in trend in the market, as well as empowering them with whatever is required to make the decision. So these are all very important. As a leader, these are all the things that as a leader, I should be thinking about my team, and not just sitting there and getting the work done, delegating the task and showing that authoritative nature. We need to help, we need to approach, we need to tell them how to approach people, how to ask right questions, and we just have to show them that guidelines or path, and they should be able to go further. So that is what actually as a leader I feel you should be doing with your team. So the challenges there are a couple of challenges as a testers, I see they are facing these days. Not just these days, I think it is there for a couple of years. So testers usually are overburdened with multiple builds. They don't get enough time to test. So it is, everybody knows about this problem, and we have to take certain steps to solve it. So that is where I'm working towards. So beginning from the documentation part, there's less documentation or no documentation, and the tester's time is not at all, effort is not at all involved in the while planning doing the project planning. So they just give the build and say, I need it tested, get it be tested in 1 day or 5 days, like this. So the effort estimation and all those things are not at all handled. So these days we see many startups, they just they have an idea and they want to implement it, and they give very less importance for the documentation. I totally agree with that, but we should also teach our testers how to get information when there is a less documentation, how to do their research when there is a less documentation. So that is where I'm working towards. I'm helping the team how to ask questions, how to do the like brainstorming, how it helps, and I mean, like comparing with similar applications or getting to know about the customer, their background. So these are all some of the pointers which they can use it to understand the app better and learn on it, test it better with less documentation. And with respect to the process, so the process is one thing. Usually my testers, they complain that they are getting overburdened with lot of requirement changes, multiple builds and all those things. So I am trying to set up process in all these projects where they are not considering the testers' involvement or the effectiveness of the testers' involvement from the very beginning stage. So from the big requirement and implementation, in every stage wherever the testers need to be involved, I'm stressing upon it, and I'm making it understand to the stakeholder why the testers need to be involved from the beginning itself. And I'm bringing this process change in a couple of projects now. Whichever I am handling, currently I'm bringing that process changes. So it takes some time. It's not easy for both the testers as well as the stakeholders to fall into that process. Doing one thing at a time, we are coming up with that change and trying to bring this in. So it will only ease. So everybody, like, it's a quite transparency is maintained. So everybody is aware of the changes that is happening, and all the stakeholder, like the decision makers are aware about the visibility of the coverage. So these are very important. Yeah. It's a success. Yes, it's a success. It's a success story. Actually, I would like to say that in one of the previous projects which I was working, due to this, there was no process at all, and we also didn't feel the importance of bringing it into the project. So we failed big time, and there were a lot of escalations. There were a lot of miscommunications happened, and that is when we learned from that mistake and we bought this process. It worked. It very well worked, and we continued with that customer for a longer duration. So from multiple escalations to zero escalation is what I would like to say as a success. And we want to try this out in other projects as well. I will not say exactly replica. I'm trying to, the ideas of it. It again depends on the context. So here in whichever project I'm trying to implement, it might not be required everything, but whatever is required, I'm taking it from there and I'm trying to. I would like to say I'm a self-motivated person, but at times my two naughty kids motivate me to come to office. Yes, so their midterm holidays are going to start. I don't know how I'll manage. Yes, my family supports me. My in-laws, my parents, my husband, they support me. They motivate me to do more. And at the same time, Moolya, I want to give a big credit to Moolya, because the opportunities and the work culture that I am getting here is what is driving me so far. To be frank, when I resumed my career in Moolya, I thought I might work for 1 or 2 years, then I will be back to as a homemaker. But something kept driving me, people around here, the way we work, the way we handle problem, everything. So it kept driving, and I have successfully completed 7 years in Moolya. So that's a motivation. As long as, I mean, like I get motivated, as well as it is also my responsibility, or I feel it is also equally important to motivate the team as well. I believe in appreciation, and I learned it from my previous company, where actually previous company is where they, until then it is like appreciation means only monetary is what. So there was no word of appraisal or anything that you go in front of a team, you tell that this person has done really a great job. So that kind of appreciation I had not seen, and in the previous company where I worked, I saw this culture and I cultivated it along with me. And whenever my team does a good job, I usually appreciate them then and there. And we have also started actually, and I mean, just a word of appreciation or a mail might sometime work, but not every time. So for that, we have to keep innovating our motivation also, right? So that's when we got this idea of coming up with a monthly performer. So we identify a person who has done a very good job for that month. It is not just finding bugs or anything, but it is also interaction with the client, how proactive they were. So we identify all these factors which is required in every testers. So based on this, we identify and we give a star performer of the month award, and it looks something like this. Wow. It's something like that we give it to our team members. And as well as I really don't believe in waiting for the annual day so that company recognizes them, and then so I believe in encouraging them, and appreciation is required. It should happen then and there. So I usually give them some kind of maybe a goodie or something. It can be anything for that matter. So I don't believe in waiting for the annual day event so that company can recognize team members and appreciate them. So I have got this culture of like appreciating a team members then and there whenever they get any appreciation. Need not be client appreciation, or even if I feel they are doing a good job, we appreciate them by giving goodies and some cash also, something like that, which motivates them to do better. So that is what I think people want these days. Not controlling them or saying you have to do this, do that. Get tips and advices to the passionate tester. So first is you need to become the passionate itself is like, don't consider testing as a job, but you love not just your job, you have to love the domain in which you are in. And loving the domain is like trying to understand it better and better, going deeper, making your fundamentals stronger. Okay, what I'm seeing is the current workforce, they are not ready to go deep. They just want to do test at a shallow level, and they want to jump from one to another. And they all of them think automation is the answer for all their questions. To do automation, you have to be good at first testing itself. So I always tell them to go deeper, make your foundation strong, and learn more, like what is this, why, ask more questions, and keep themselves updated with the current trend, and at least spend 20% of their time in learning activities. Don't just do a 9 to 6 job and head home. Invest some, at least their initial days, they'll have less responsibilities and less commitment. So during those days, they can actually spend more time in learning and making their career strong and better. So I advise them to spend more time in learning, as well as networking with people, and taking part in any of these conferences, learning from all those things are all will add to their career. It's what I suggestion. For me, when I joined Moolyan, I was completely, when you could have seen, totally an opposite personality. That's because I don't say I'm an introvert, but with new people, in front of, in a new environment, I tend to be little reserved, and I don't try to talk or network with people. So that was how, but Moolya changed me. It gave me courage to talk to people, mingle with people, and the one important lesson that I learned in Moolya is to learn to fail, and then learnings from your failure. Okay, so I was hesitant to take risk because I was thinking that I might fail and not just lose your job, as well as like I might be how can I fail kind of. So I just want to be there posing that I am like perfect. So if I fail, I was feeling that I'm more inferior or something like that. But then Moolya taught me that it's okay to fail. I really don't. Yeah, bonding, yes, it's still a secret recipe, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just treat them as, maybe it is just the way we treat people. It's just that the relationship, instead of thinking them as a junior, seniors who are there to work for me, I just think that we are all working together, and whatever, whether it's a problem or issue or anything, we sit along with them and try to sort out. It is not like it's not my job kind of thing. So that is one thing, and I give them the freedom, liberty to make decision. I tell them to fail and learn from it. Failing is equally, important, but equally important is learning from it. That is what that ensures. That gives them a confidence to go further. I am feeling, nowadays when I am giving presentation and talk to juniors, so I feel I'm more confident about the subject because I'm doing more and more research on it. So learning is one thing where I don't want to put a full stop anytime in my life. And this culture is, I got it from Moolya only. So these are the few things that I would like to, it's personally for me, it has affected a lot. Apart from that, fun at work, this is the first company where I saw like music, while you're allowed to play music loudly and work. Then there are so many activities, fun activities. You treat your employees like your family, and which usually I don't see this kind of culture in any other company. So this is what has actually I have liked in Moolya, and I would like to say that I am part of this now. I think I have covered more or less, but one thing I want to stress is for women like me who wants to come back to the industry, like they might have taken break due to the family reason and all, who wants to come back to the industry. For them, I would like to encourage them to apply and get back into it. Don't hesitate. Like many of us, like everybody will have like, I'm out of touch, and how will I be able to cope up? So there is always a start. Yes, you did a better job, but then I think these days, way back when I restarted, the industry was not so open to women who have taken break. But nowadays, I see many MNCs are giving that chance, and Moolya was doing it at that time itself. And due to which I got a job where the big MNCs said, they close the door and say, we are not entertaining women who take break and try to come back. They were not even shortlisting my profile for the interview. So, but that is where I got a chance to work, and Moolya has continued to do. It is not like it started in the beginning of its days and then it discontinued, not like that. Even today, I think recently, last week itself, one of the employee who had taken break for 4 years, she joined our company. So we are still continuing with that, and I encourage all women to get back and to their workforce and try to give their best. That is what I would like to give a message to all those who have taken break. Yeah, I know it's very difficult for women who are trying to come back, for them to manage work-life balance. But if you don't take risk, you are losing your opportunities. So I would like to say to those ladies that don't hesitate to take risk. In risk comes your biggest opportunities.